Welcome in to the Sactown Sports Kings recap. My name is Chris Watkins. I am live from Golden One Center following the Sacramento Kings 122-117 defeat handed to them by the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns, who are the number one team currently in the Western Conference. And boy, oh boy, did the Phoenix Suns prove exactly why tonight. Outstanding performances from Devin Booker. He had 44 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. Great night from Malik Monk. He put in 30 points, 8 assists as well. Domantas Sabonis had a near triple-double, 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists for Domas. Absolutely a great game for him. Unfortunately, the Kings couldn't come up with the win, but boy, oh boy, was it an entertaining game. From start to finish, really, this game was really, really close. There were, let's see what the biggest lead was. I believe the Suns' biggest lead was 10 points, which happened there in the fourth quarter, only for the Kings to quickly exterminate that and make it a 2-point game. And that's really how close it was until the end of this one, where the Kings had a chance yet again, much like the other night against Atlanta, where it definitely felt like had a chance to pull out the win in today's game and just couldn't get it done. Unfortunately, tonight definitely felt like it was even more in grasp as right in front of me here. The Kings had an opportunity. They stopped the Phoenix Suns on their last possession, couldn't secure the defensive rebound, something that this team has actually been one of the best in the league at this season, being in the top 3 in defensive rebounds and defensive rebounding percentages. That's usually a strong suit for this team, is ending possessions like that. And just tonight, at the absolute worst moment it could have happened, the Kings couldn't secure the rebound, and Phoenix was able to run the clock out and secure this one pretty comfortably in the end. Like I said, Kings fall 117-122 here in Golden One Center. Really, really was a fun night. Devin Booker. I mean, if we're going to start anywhere in this recap show, it's got to be with Devin Booker, who was just a bad man all night long. He got an early technical foul. It seemed like that might have given a little spark to his game. Because after that, it was all Devin Booker, and it felt like he did not come out of this game, and Phoenix needed him for every single one of his points tonight. Again, put up 44 points. Let me see how much he finished percentage-wise with. There was a point in this game he was 12 of 6 from the field. I was absolutely lighting it up, felt like he couldn't miss. Finishes 17 of 28, 9 of 9 from the free throw line, only 1 of 6 from 3 from Devin Booker. And the Kings tried everything. This to me was eerily reminiscent of the Clipper game earlier in the season without the missed free throws. In that Clipper game, it was the second game of the season. Paul George had 40 points on them, dropped a 40-burger. Devin Booker was able to do the same tonight. He just could not be stopped, and the Kings had no answer for him no matter what they tried. We saw KZ Okpala get a nice little stretch run in that second quarter. I thought he played really well on Devin Booker. But when you're going against somebody like him, it's a cliche, but you can't stop him. You're only hoping to slow him down, and the Kings couldn't even do that tonight. I thought Davion Mitchell played some great defense on Devin Booker, especially in that fourth quarter. Made his life incredibly difficult. He got called on I think it was the right call to call Davion on that last little shot from the corner of the paint where Davion did get called for a foul. I do think Davion hit his wrist, but Davion was just absolutely in his chest all night, and that's the kind of defense you expect from a player like Davion Mitchell. Big ups to him. I think his stat line doesn't show how big of an impact he's made. This is now 2 or 3 straight games in a row where I felt like he's came in that third quarter, especially to close out the third quarter, and just played phenomenal defense on the opposing team's best player. Big night for Davion Mitchell, in my opinion, regardless of the 7 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds that it says in the box score, 2 of 7 from the field. I think Davion's offense is obviously where he needs to improve the most, but if he can continue to give that kind of effort every night on the defensive end, he's going to always have minutes on this team, and he's going to absolutely have his value, as you saw him closing out this game tonight as well. I think he absolutely deserved to be in that closing lineup with his defense on Booker. And, on a night where Harrison Barnes didn't have it, Keegan Murray we'll talk about him a little later, but Keegan's starting to find his game. Mike still is not comfortable with throwing him into the final lineup. Good to see Davion earn that spot for him tonight, and I thought he played pretty well. Let's see here. Let's go to the comments. Give me your thoughts on tonight's game. Put them in the comments section. Make sure to hit the thumbs up so people can hop in and join in on the fun tonight. I know it's not fun when the Kings lose, and this is now 3-game losing streak, which the team is on after losing the last 2 of their road trip to Atlanta and to Boston. Tonight would have been 8 straight at home for the Sacramento Kings if they would have pulled through today. Unfortunately, couldn't get that done. They moved to 6-5 on the season at home, which is ultra disappointing as well because Phoenix came in tonight, not a good road team. They were 2-5 on the road coming into tonight. They're a much better home team where they're 10-1 at home. They've really gotten it done down in Phoenix, but have really struggled when they've hit the road, and we didn't see much of that struggle tonight. I mean, as previously mentioned, Devin Booker had no issue finding his shot tonight. He was hitting everything. Damian Lee, I mean, come on. Damian Lee, this is a little personal. It felt personal to me because for some reason I don't enjoy Damian Lee's game, and it was really unfortunate that he was the one that really put us away tonight. That was a shame, but good on him because he had a lot of open looks and he knocked it down. I think that's exactly what Mike Brown would have hoped from his defense. I think we've seen the Kings implement this before where especially, what comes to mind is the Warrior game that was at home here a couple Sundays ago where they blitzed Steph Curry every time coming off the pick and roll. They would double team him, force him to make the pass, make somebody else make a shot. And I think they had a similar plan tonight with Devin Booker after he got going, that it was just, please, anybody besides Devin Booker can beat us, but we cannot allow Devin Booker to continue to just kind of get whatever he wants. And you know what? Big up Damian Lee. He absolutely stepped up tonight, and he hit some really big shots down the stretch. And in that fourth quarter, he was 6 of 11 field, 37 point game. Big game for Damian Lee. Finishes with 15 points, 5 rebounds. That's the kind of thing that they needed tonight on a night where they really didn't have too much continuity offensively. Mikal Bridges was who was normally a really good shooter for them, finished the night 1 of 6 from 3, only had 13 points. DeAndre Ayton for a while looked like it was going to be a big night from him. He finishes with 17 points, 12 rebounds on 8 of 10 from the field. Let's see here. Let's go to the comments. Wow, some harsh comments here from your average gaming warrior 2022. Of course, Sacra Fraud. Wow, that's a tough one. Sacra Fraudto defense blows it again. I can't lie. I don't agree with the fraud statement. I think this team is what they are at this point. They're definitely not one of the top teams in this league, but they showed tonight against a Phoenix team who's at the top of the Western Conference right now. They can compete on any given night, and especially at home, they're going to make it tough on just about anybody. They'll figure these things out. It's tough. They've been in a lot of close games this year. That's a good thing to see, but they have to learn how to win these kind of games when the other team is heavily reliant on one player. But yeah, the defense absolutely was not there tonight. In the first half, both teams were shooting 60%. The Kings' offense is not a problem at all, but if they could just slow another team down to have them shoot regular percentages, 50 or just under 50%, this team will start blowing people out. But that's a big if, because they have really shown no, I don't want to say no effort on the defensive end, because that's just not going to be true with any Mike Brown team. But they just haven't been able to make stops on the defensive end for whatever reason that is. And if they can figure that out, man, oh man, we're gonna see possibly another 7-game win streak here. But again, that's a really big if, because this team continues, it feels like, every night to give up 55, 60% from the field in a half, which you're just not going to win many of any NBA games if you continue to do that. What's up with Fox? This is a very good question. De'Aaron did have a slow night tonight, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. But to me, the thing that stuck out was his minutes. Didn't play too many minutes. He had 24 minutes midway through that fourth quarter before checking in for the last 5 minutes. De'Aaron finishes off with 29 minutes. Might not look that mysterious, but in the game, it definitely felt like De'Aaron was purposefully being held out. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about any injury or anything like that. So that's absolutely something to monitor. But De'Aaron Fox definitely did not. I don't want to. He was not given the kind of minutes like this was a do or die game tonight. So that's absolutely something to monitor, something very interesting. De'Aaron Fox had a very, very slow night and didn't get a lot of minutes. So definitely be on the lookout for some news like that. It could have just been a rest day. I don't think so. This team hasn't played in a couple days. They're coming off a road trip. Everyone's probably tired. That's probably not a good enough excuse. I think De'Aaron will absolutely be ready to go. Ooh, voice crack there. Excuse me. excuse me. It's been a long night. De'Aaron Fox, I definitely expect to be ready for Wednesday's game against Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and the Indiana Pacers. That should be an absolute blast. Cannot wait for that one. Both teams showed well enough. Refs just wanted the team in first place. I don't know about that. I'm not going to go that far. I didn't think the whistle was too bad tonight. The Kings have gotten some pretty terrible whistles so far this season, but I didn't think tonight was one of those nights. There's some fun stuff going on here on the concourse of Golden One Center. People shooting free throws. They're getting booed by the Kings radio broadcast crew. This is really, really funny stuff. Let's get back to this stream here. Yeah, this is going to be a common theme, and this was something I looked at last season when people were wondering if last season was going to be the Kings' season to turn things around. And you just got to look as far as their division, where where do they rank in their division, even where you have the Phoenix Suns, who are the number 1 team in the Western Conference. They have the Warriors, who we all know how the Warriors pedigree is, and they're struggling, but they're just around the same spot that we are, and we're playing well. They have the Clippers, who are an incredibly tough team, have 2 superstars and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, have Tyronn Lue, who's one of the best coaches in the NBA. They're incredibly loaded, just a deep team. Are the Kings better than them? I don't know. Obviously, if they have their stars going, I think it's tough to bet on the Kings in that situation. The Lakers are, oh my goodness, somebody just shot one of the free throws over the hoop. It just went over the hoop into the third row. Wow, that was incredible. So the Kings have a really really tough division. I'm not even going to mention the L word, the Los Angeles Losers, because we're not concerned about them this season. The Kings are a better team than them, and there's really nothing we need to worry about in terms of them. But the Kings absolutely have a very very tough division, maybe the hardest division in basketball, or most competitive division in basketball right now, and that does them absolutely no favors as they have to play all of those teams 4 times. This is the first time they've played Phoenix this year. We got 3 more matchups against them. They didn't have Chris Paul tonight. Didn't have Jay Crowder tonight. Didn't have Cam Johnson tonight. They've been out for an extended period of time. Who knows if the next time the Kings play this team, if they'll have them. But scary team are the Phoenix Suns. Kings aren't going to be able to avoid them at all this season. Is this my 3rd straight post game? No, I did not do the Boston game. I had to think about it. 3 and 4. This is my 3rd post game in 4 nights. Not 4 nights, 4 games. I did do the Atlanta post game. I did the Memphis post game. I did not do the Boston post game, and I am doing this one. Our loyal leader Nick Cattles is out sick tonight, so he couldn't make it. He also is traveling as well, so I'm filling in. And glad to be doing it. I really enjoy doing these post game live streams. Be sure to get your comments and your thoughts in the chat, and I'll make sure to get to them. And let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. Can't find a trade on the NBA trade machine where the Kings can acquire some interior defensive help. That's been a glaring weakness so far this season. Yeah, absolutely. I've talked about this a couple times so far on different platforms, but the interior defense, the rim protection, isn't there for this team. They're one of the worst teams in the league at defending the rim. Teams shoot an incredibly high percentage against the Kings at the rim and from within the restricted area. I don't see where the answer is. Chimezie Metu has been somebody that the Kings have thrown out as a backup center to Domantas Sabonis. I don't think Sabonis is ever going to have that high level rim protection just because of the level of verticality that he lacks. I think he tries his behind off, but he just has his certain limitations, and he's just not a natural rim protector. Mezzi hasn't done really well protecting the rim so far this season. I think they like him on the perimeter as a defender, and I think that's a big reason why he's been the choice over Richaun Holmes, because when Mezzi's on the floor, they just switch everything, and that's just a little bit more difficult with Richaun, who hasn't done well on the perimeter so far this season. In theory, I think Richaun is a better rim protector. Richaun only has 1 block so far this season, so practicality, it has not bared out that way. But I will absolutely that to me is the biggest glaring weak point for this team. And if they do make a deal, whether it be a big, trading Harrison Barnes and Richaun Holmes for somebody, or something smaller, just acquiring a small asset, I definitely see rim protection being the thing that this team addresses first, because they're just not going to get better until they fix the foundation of the center of the rim, or the center of the paint, I should say. Absolutely hit that like button, y'all. There's we got quite a few people in here right now, and it does not match the amount of likes that we have on this stream, so please be sure to hit that like button. It means so much more than you know. We absolutely need rim protection. Ooh, this is interesting here. Keegan to the G League to bring back his confidence. I don't know if we need to go that far. Keegan's the number 4 pick in the draft. Not that the G League is beneath him at that point, but it's just, I don't think that's the answer. I think, he might get a little bit of confidence just from dominating down there and being able to find his game, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to 1-for-1 translate back to the NBA. I think he's got to figure it out here, and I do think that it's not. It's more of it's definitely a confidence issue for sure with him. I don't think he's down on himself per se. I just think he's incredibly hyper aware of the physicality and what is on the other side of his shots. He very much is I think just not being aggressive as he needs to be, especially around the rim where he's really floated some shots up, and we've seen them get sent very, very far away. So I don't think we need to send him to the G League, but maybe I proposed this on my Saturday show, Kings Weekly, with Chris Watkins myself. Please be sure to check that right here on the same YouTube channel. Maybe moving him to the bench. We saw KZ Okpala come in tonight. He played on was it Saturday as well, against Boston in Boston. He played 20 minutes. I think he's looked pretty solid in his 2 games. Even when KZ was starting earlier in the season, he wasn't playing 30 minutes a night. He was playing anywhere from 5 to 15, 20 minutes a night. I absolutely think you can still bring him in the starting unit, but not necessarily play him like starter minutes. I just think Keegan kind of needs a little bit of a change. I think he's having an issue finding his offense with that starting unit. You know, there's so much attention on Kevin Huerter and De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis when the starters are in. I think it's really tough for Keegan to kind of figure out when to pick and choose his spots. Where off the bench, we see Malik Monk is clearly the number one option off the bench, and everybody else just kind of follows suit. And I think that's just a lot easier for Keegan at the moment, just to kind of simplify things and kind of figure out things on his own pace. Let's see here. Thunderbird being incredibly active in the chat. I love it. I love it. I love it. Trade for Miles Turner. Get Dwight Howard. No comment on the Dwight Howard thing, but Miles Turner. I just don't think the Kings have enough assets to acquire someone like Miles Turner. Miles Turner's probably going to go for, it feels like that Westbrook in 2 first-round picks for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner is just destined to happen at some point. I don't think the Kings can match that value anywhere close to that. Neemias Queta was active tonight. Neemi Queta should get some run to see if he answers the interior defense. That's, I think, could be a long-term solution. Neemias Queta did have it. It needs to be mentioned. He had an incredible night in the G League the other night, putting up 38 points and 20 rebounds, something insane like that. Neemi's biggest problem in the NBA has just been he hasn't looked fluid enough offensively. His body is still not quite there. He's in incredible shape. You would think Neemias Queta is like this really big, lumbering, almost like an Alex Len kind of. Well, Alex Len honestly is in really good shape as well. A little more like DeMarcus Cousins, maybe you think of Neemias Queta, but he's actually really, really trim. Is incredibly strong. I think it's just I think his body and his mind aren't quite on the same page yet. I think he knows what to do, but in terms of getting the speed, he's not quite adjusted there yet. And I definitely think, from everything I've heard, the Kings are incredibly high on Neemias Queta and do hope to have a future with him for this team. I just think that they're going to do it on their time and they're not going to try and force the issue. Also, it's kind of risky, right now. It's kind of the same thing with Keegan Murray, where you have to play the balancing act of we're trying to win games, but also we need to develop these guys. And at the moment, winning games is the priority. So if you're going to put in Neemias Queta, if you're going to continue to play Keegan Murray the amount of minutes that you're playing him, it might come at the cost of winning. And I think we all know that it seems like this season winning is the main objective. So I would be very surprised if both Keegan Murray's minutes continue to be what they are, and I would be surprised if Neemias Queta gets inserted into any lineups anytime soon, especially with Mike only running a 9-man rotation right now. That's a very, very tight rotation, and I don't know if Neemias can crack that off of one good G League performance. But at the same time, all he's got to do is continue to do that, continue to impress when he is up here in Sacramento. And, he'll absolutely get some minutes. There's no way the Kings are just going to store this guy away on their bench and never play him in a game when he's putting up the kind of numbers that he's put up and shows the kind of talent that he's shown in the past. This is something I've gotten asked off air before. Is the Jay Crowder rumor legit? No, I guess I would say no would be the easiest answer. The Kings are not in communication to acquire Jay Crowder at all. Sam Amick, I'm sorry. James Ham of the Kings beat reported that the Kings are not currently in any conversations to deal Harrison Barnes. I think Harrison would be the most logical person to be involved in a Jay Crowder trade. I think the Kings should get more value than Jay Crowder in that instance. But I just don't see who else the Kings could potentially move for Jay Crowder. Looking at this Phoenix team tonight, there's a possibility that they might be interested in a Rashawn Holmes reunion, but I think they really like Jacques Lawndale, who gave them some good minutes in that fourth quarter. Bismack Biyombo played a lot more than I was expecting tonight. So maybe Phoenix would be interested in a backup center position with Rashawn Holmes. But again, I kind of think that Phoenix can probably get a little bit better of an offer for Jay Crowder than Rashawn Holmes and his contract. His contract is absolutely a big part of all of that. Will Tyrese? Oh, who gets booed more, Tyrese or Buddy? I don't see Tyrese Halliburton getting booed at all. I really don't. I don't think when he comes here on Wednesday, him and Buddy Hield, along with the Indiana Pacers, I don't see Tyrese really getting booed. From everything I've heard from fans that I talk to, from media members, from just the general vibe, I never got, especially from social media, I never got that people were really down on Tyrese Halliburton at all. It really feels like people really love Tyrese and would. I've heard more than a couple people mention that they would much rather have Tyrese Halliburton over De'Aaron Fox. I'm not one of those people, but I think Tyrese will more than definitely more than the boos will get a pretty loud ovation come on Wednesday. I think Buddy's going to get some cheers for sure, but I also will not be surprised when there's a healthy amount of boos. I mean, Buddy is the all-time leading 3-point maker in Sacramento Kings history. He absolutely deserves some respect for the amount of time that he spent here in Sacramento. He was the feature piece in the DeMarcus Cousins mega deal. So I think there's some good feelings on that, because usually in a deal like that, you get a lot of young pieces and, they don't always pan out that much. I think Buddy was an incredibly solid piece to get out of that deal. It's just kind of unfortunate that the Kings weren't able to capitalize too much on those assets, though they did get, by virtue of not playing well without DeMarcus Cousins, they were able to get in that number 5 spot, select De'Aaron Fox. But with that number 10 pick, if you'll all remember, they traded the number 10 pick for 15 and 20 and got Justin Jackson and Harry Giles, both of which are no longer on this roster. Harry Giles is out of the league. Justin Jackson, I believe, is deep on the Boston Celtics bench. So, not too much besides Buddy was gotten from that DeMarcus trade. Buddy served his time here admirably well. He got us a great return with Domantas Sabonis. You really can't be too upset at him. It's not anything near a Marvin Bagley situation where there's a lot of bad feelings, a lot of nasty messages back and forth. I think it was pretty copacetic with Buddy leaving, and Buddy's a really good guy. He's really funny. I think all of his teammates really liked him. It's just kind of unfortunate that, I think it just wasn't going to work here for a myriad of reasons. It just wasn't work. This has been brought up a lot. DeMarcus Cousins coming back to the Sacramento Kings. It's tough because of what you mentioned right here. The culture definitely has changed here in Sacramento. I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day. It does feel like since the Kings released or traded DeMarcus Cousins, they have made a point to bring in extra good human beings. Obviously, DeMarcus had his run-ins with officials and with fans and with teammates and with coaches and possibly with other high-ranking people in the organization. But I think that since that has happened, I think the Kings like I said, made a point to bring in high character people. We see Harrison Barnes has been a major front facing person that the Kings have had in the post DeMarcus era. Garrett Temple is somebody that played with DeMarcus, but was incredibly important to the Kings after DeMarcus as well. Who else is a high character guy? I mean, De'Aaron Fox is another high character guy. Domantas Sabonis is a really, really good guy. I just feel like that was a major shift from the Kings in terms of a culture standpoint. And now that they do have all of these positive vibes, I don't know if bringing in DeMarcus Cousins is the number one priority or should be the number one priority for this team moving forward. Let's get a couple more questions in here before we hop off. A couple more. Let's see here. Miles Plumlee or Robin Lopez? Well, I'm a huge Robin Lopez guy. I just love the Lopez twins. I think, honestly, Robin would be perfect as a backup center. He does provide rim protection. He's really solid offensively, sets incredible screens, much like Domas does. He's not quite the playmaker, but he is no slouch as a playmaker either. I think the Lopez twins are incredibly underrated. I would possibly throw a parade if we got Robin Lopez. Big fan of that. Let's see here. I do think this team makes a trade by February. It seems like the team isn't fully built yet, and they can, as mentioned before, they could use some rim protection and possibly some wing depth. Let's see here. I should plug my Twitter. You're totally right, Thunderbird. I do have a Twitter. You can follow me at Chris M. Watkins, CHRIS M. Watkins, WATKINS. You can watch these streams after every single Sacramento Kings game right here on Sactown Sports 1140's YouTube channel. We are also live streaming on our Twitter page as well, so be sure to always look out for those. It will not always be me hosting these things, even though I have done quite a few recently. It's a nice little rotating panel of myself, Carmichael Dave, Nick Cattles, and Rami Maklov. I don't know who has the next one. That's what I was just trying to find out. But beyond the, you know what? Here's a teaser. Find out who's going to host next time on Sactown Sports Kings Recap. My name is Chris Watkins. Thank you all so much for joining me. Have a good night. Unfortunately, the Kings cannot pull this one out. Phoenix wins 122-117. Big night from Devin Booker. Big night from Malik Monk. Should be a fun one come Wednesday when Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield come to town to face De'Aaron Fox and the Sacramento Kings. Until then, see y'all and have a great night.